In this video, we're going to look at area. In the previous video, we looked at length and perimeter, and they're a linear measurement, but when we're looking at area, we're looking at the amount of space inside a shape. So if this shape here is 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, and we're trying to work out what the area of it is 1 centimeter square. So it is a square made up of 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. Now, the thing that we need to look at is converting from one thing to another. Now, we said in the previous video that if we needed to convert from centimeters to millimeters, we needed to multiply by 10. Now, the difference with this one is because we're looking at squares, we're actually looking at centimeter squares and millimeter squares. And likewise, we're looking at meters squared and kilometers squared. But if you take our example up the top, 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, if we convert 1 centimeter square into millimeter squares, that's each side is divided up into 10 millimeters. 7, 8, 9, 10. And then if we divide the height up also in 10, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I know that's a bit hard to see, but you can see that there's more than 10. So in fact, because each side is now, instead of 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, it's now 10 millimeters by 10 millimeters. That means that instead of multiplying by 10, we're actually multiplying by 10 squared, and we know that is 100. So 1 centimeter squared is equal to 100 millimeters squared. If we go back from millimeters and we're converting it to centimeters, we take the same thing. So instead of dividing it by 10, now we're dividing it by 10 squared, so we're dividing it by 100. So the same thing happens when we're going from meters to centimeters, because there's 100 centimeters up for each meter and 100 centimeters across for each meter. That's going to be 100 squared, or 100 by 100. So we need to multiply it by 100 squared, which is we multiply it by 10,000. Okay, this is a little bit tricky, but when we go the other way, it's exactly the same. Instead of by 100, we're doing it by 100 squared. So we're dividing it by 10,000, 100 by 100. And the same when we convert kilometers. So instead of converting 1 kilometer to a meter, 1 kilometer to 1,000 meters, we're now multiplying it by 1,000 squared, which is a million. And then we're saying if we go the other way, we divide it by 1 million. Okay, so an example would be if I had 7 kilometers squared, and if I was converting that to meters, so I'm going from kilometers to meters, I need to take my 7 kilometers and I multiply it by 1 million, and that will give me, so it's a million meters, and that will give me 7 million meters squared. It's important that we're meters squared. Let's have another example. If I was converting 26 centimeters squared, and I wanted to convert that to meters. So I'm going from centimeters to meters. So you follow the arrow. So in this case, we're dividing it by 100 squared, or we're dividing it by 10,000. So when we divide it by multiples of 0, it's going to be I'm going to have to move the decimal point from here, and I'm moving it 1, 2, 3, 4 places. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So my decimal point was previously after the 6, and I've moved it because I've divided it by 1,000. Sorry, 10,000. Okay, let's have a look at some examples where we calculate the area of different shapes. Now, for each of these, we're looking at how many squares of a size are made up in that. So if this is 3 meters by 4 meters, that means there's 3 meters going this way and there's 4 meters going this side. So it's the area of a rectangle is the base times the height, and in this case the base is 4 times the height, which is 3. So the answer is 12 meters squared. So if you can count those, you have 12 squares, each 1 meter by 1 meter. The next shape that I've got over here is a pretty poorly drawn square, but the area of a square is the same, base times the height, but because the base and the height are the same, we can say the base squared or the length squared. So in this case, it's 5, and we're going to square that, which is 25 millimeters squared. So if we divided this into 5 and divided this by 5, you'll find that you have 25 little squares in there. Now the next shape, our triangle over here, is 3 centimeters by 5 centimeters. Drawing it's probably not going to help me a lot, but you can see here that if I squared this up, let me just rub that out. If I squared this up and I continued these lines on, I would have a rectangle, and you can see a triangle is actually half a rectangle. So the area of the triangle is base times height divided by 2, because we've cut those in half. So in this case, it's going to be 3 times 5 divided by 2. 3 times 5 is 15 divided by 2, which is 7.5 centimeter squared. So you don't always get complete squares, so it's quite okay to have decimals. All right, I'm hoping this short video has helped you with that. So good luck with your area.